It was a common morning at the construction site. The sun had barely risen on the horizon, and the workers were already up, ready for another day of hard work. Dust hung in the air as the men moved with their tools, prepared to face the day's challenges. But that particular morning, something unusual was about to happen. Something that would change their routines unexpectedly. João, the team leader, was supervising the excavation of a new sector. The machines roared, and the earth moved like a brown river under the command of the skilled operators. Suddenly, a strange sound interrupted the hum of the machines. A sharp, desperate scream that seemed to come from within the earth. The workers immediately stopped, exchanging confused and worried looks. "Did anyone hear that?" asked João, frowning and trying to locate the origin of the sound. Another scream, weaker, echoed across the site, coming from a newly opened hole. "There's something down there!" exclaimed Pedro, one of the workers, pointing to the hole. Without hesitation, João ran to the spot, closely followed by the other workers. Approaching cautiously, João knelt at the edge of the hole, trying to see what was causing those sounds. His expression hardened when he saw something moving between the mud and debris. "There's something alive here! I need a rope and a flashlight, quickly!" The men quickly mobilized, bringing the items João requested. Carefully, he descended into the hole, using the flashlight to illuminate what appeared to be a small animal completely covered in mud. Its eyes shone with fear and desperation. "Calm down, buddy, we'll get you out of there," João murmured, trying to calm the animal. With careful movements, he tied the rope around the small, trembling body and signaled for the men to pull. Slowly, the animal began to rise, slipping in the mud, until it was finally lifted safely out of the hole. The group gathered around, observing with curiosity and concern. "Looks like a puppy," said Pedro, wiping some of the mud to see better. The animal trembled and whimpered, clearly exhausted and scared. "Let's take him to the wildlife hospital," João decided. "We need to clean him up and see if he's injured." Carefully, they wrapped the animal in an improvised blanket and placed it in the back of João's truck. The trip to the wildlife hospital was quick but filled with uncertainty. Everyone hoped the little survivor would be okay and that they could discover exactly what it was. Upon arriving at the hospital, they were greeted by the veterinary team, who immediately took the animal to be examined. The workers stayed outside, anxious and apprehensive, exchanging stories about how they had found it and wondering what kind of life the little creature had led before its unexpected rescue. The wildlife hospital was a busy place, with various species of animals being treated by a dedicated and passionate team. The arrival of the rescued animal brought a mix of curiosity and urgency. The veterinarians, used to unusual cases, immediately mobilized to provide care for the new patient. João and the other workers watched as the small, mud-covered creature was taken inside. They waited in the lobby, anxious and restless, while the examination room doors closed. The silence was broken only by the sound of monitors and the murmured conversations of the veterinarians. Inside the examination room, Dr. Helena, an experienced veterinarian, led the team. "We need to clean this little one quickly," she said, grabbing a basin of warm, soapy water. With gentle movements, she began to remove the mud covering the animal. With each layer of dirt removed, more of the animal's true appearance was revealed. "Doesn't look like a puppy," commented Marcelo, one of the assistants, frowning as he watched the cleaning. "The body shape and paw structure, it's different." Dr. Helena nodded, focused on her work. "Let's see what we find beneath all this mud." The animal, initially tense and frightened, began to relax as it felt the warm water and the gentle touches of the veterinarians. Its ears, previously hidden by the dirt, now stood out, revealing a pointed and elegant shape. Its fur, carefully cleaned, showed a vibrant reddish-orange hue. "Wait a minute," said Dr. Helena, surprised. "This isn't a dog. It's a red fox." The assistants exchanged surprised looks. "A fox? How did it end up at that construction site?" asked Marcelo, carefully drying the animal. "That's something we may never know," replied Helena. "The important thing now is to take care of her and ensure she's healthy." She carefully examined the fox, checking for injuries and signs of malnutrition. Fortunately, besides some scrapes and a lot of dirt, the little fox seemed to be in good health. "We'll need a name for her," said Marcelo, smiling as he gently stroked the now clean animal's head. "How about Mudsie? Because of all the mud we found her in." Dr. Helena laughed, agreeing. "Mudsie is perfect. Let's register that name and prepare everything for her recovery." Meanwhile, in the lobby, João and the others waited with growing impatience. Finally, Dr. Helena emerged from the examination room, carrying Mudsie, now clean and visibly calmer. "You found a young red fox," Helena explained with a smile. "She's about 4 months old, and despite the scare, she's in good condition." The workers were astonished. "A fox? We thought it was a dog!" exclaimed Pedro, laughing. "But it's great that she's okay." "Yes, she'll be fine," Helena assured them. "We'll take care of her until she's ready to return to the wild." João smiled, feeling great satisfaction. "We did the right thing by bringing her here." "Thank you, Doctor. We're here to help," replied Helena, stroking Mudsie. "She'll need some time to recover, but she'll definitely be ready for freedom soon." As the wildlife hospital team took Mudsie to a suitable space for her recovery, the construction workers said their goodbyes, feeling a mix of relief and joy. They had saved a life, and that was something they would never forget. The days that followed were full of care and attention for Mudsie at the wildlife hospital. The little fox quickly became a favorite among the veterinary team and even among the hospital's visitors. Her natural charm and resilience won everyone over. Dr. Helena, who had led the initial rescue, visited Mudsie regularly. "You're recovering well, little one," she said, gently stroking the fox's head. Mudsie, now clean and healthy, seemed to be getting used to human presence, though she still showed wild instincts. In the recovery room, Mudsie had a space all to herself, with toys, fresh food, and water. She also received regular visits from Dr. Helena and Marcelo, who monitored her health and progress. Every day, Mudsie seemed stronger and more active, exploring her environment with growing curiosity. One day, while Dr. Helena was feeding Mudsie, Marcelo entered the room with a big smile on his face. "We have a surprise for you, Mudsie," he said, crouching to be at the fox's level. Mudsie perked up her ears, curious. "The construction workers who rescued you are here to visit," Helena explained. "They wanted to see how you're doing." João, Pedro, and 2 other workers entered the room with wide smiles and expectant looks. "Hello, Mudsie," said João, approaching slowly. "We're very happy to see you're well." Mudsie, recognizing the voices and smells, took a few cautious steps toward them. Pedro extended his hand, and Mudsie, after a few moments of hesitation, approached, sniffing his hand. "She remembers us?" said Pedro, amazed. "It's incredible." "Yes, she has an excellent memory," replied Dr. Helena. "And thanks to you, she's recovering wonderfully." The workers spent some time with Mudsie, delighted by her progress and grateful for having helped save a life. They talked with Dr. Helena about the next steps and what would be needed for Mudsie to return to the wild. "She needs a few more weeks of recovery," Helena explained. "We want to make sure she's completely healthy. and ready to survive on her own before releasing her. Meanwhile, Mudzi continued to become a small celebrity at the hospital. Visitors came from far and wide to see her, bringing gifts and donations to help with her recovery. Her rescue story quickly spread, touching the hearts of many. One day, while Marcelo was caring for Mudzi, he commented to Helena, "She really brought something special to all of us here. Every time I look at her, I'm reminded of how small actions can make a big difference." Helena nodded, agreeing. "It's true, Marcelo. And she's a constant reminder of our mission here. We're here to care for the defenseless and ensure they have a fair chance." Mudzi, now completely recovered, was almost ready for her return to the wild. The veterinary team and the construction workers who rescued her were anxious and a bit sad to see her go, but they knew it was the best for her. "She needs to go back to where she belongs," said Helena, watching Mudzi play with a rubber toy. "And knowing we did everything we could to help her is the best reward." As the release day approached, preparations were made to ensure Mudzi had a smooth transition back to her natural habitat. Dr. Helena and her team planned every detail, from the ideal location for the release to favorable weather conditions. "We'll miss her," said Pedro, as they gathered to discuss the final plans. "But knowing she'll be free and happy is what matters." On the release day, everyone was present: the veterinary team, the construction workers, and some visitors who had followed Mudzi's story from the beginning. The little fox, now strong and vibrant, was ready to start her new life. "Let's go, Mudzi," said Dr. Helena, opening the transport cage door. "It's time to go home." Mudzi looked around for a moment as if saying goodbye to everyone who had cared for her. Then, with a graceful leap, she ran to freedom, disappearing into the vegetation. Everyone watched in silence, with smiles on their faces and tears in their eyes. "Good luck, Mudzi," murmured João, as the fox disappeared from sight. "We hope you have a long and happy life." The days passed quickly at the wildlife hospital, and Mudzi, the little red fox, became stronger and more independent. The veterinary team, led by Dr. Helena, continued to monitor her recovery, ensuring she was ready to face the outside world again. Each member of the team had a crucial role in Mudzi's care. Marcelo, with his patience and dedication, spent hours playing with her and introducing small challenges to stimulate her natural instincts. Helena, with her vast experience, ensured all of Mudzi's medical needs were met. And even the construction workers, whenever they could, visited the hospital to see the progress of the fox they had rescued. "She's almost ready," said Dr. Helena, watching Mudzi explore a new outdoor enclosure created specifically for her. "Just a few more days, and we can release her." João and Pedro, who were present, nodded with smiles. "It's incredible to see how much she's grown since the day we found her," commented João. "She's truly a fighter." During the recovery period, Mudzi gained more than just physical strength. She also won the affection and attention of everyone around her. Her story of resilience and survival touched the hearts of many, making her a local celebrity. At the hospital, the daily routine included moments of interaction and training to ensure Mudzi was prepared to return to the wild. Marcelo used toys and hidden food to encourage the fox to use her sense of smell and hunting skills. "We need to make sure she can feed herself," he explained to curious visitors. "She needs to be ready to survive on her own." Meanwhile, Dr. Helena organized the final medical exams to confirm Mudzi was in perfect health. "Everything looks great," she said, reviewing the results with a smile. "She's ready for the next stage of her life." The construction workers who had found Mudzi were also involved in the preparations for her release. "We want to be there when she's released," said Pedro emotionally. "It was a privilege to be part of this journey, and we want to see her go back to where she belongs." Helena agreed, recognizing the importance of their involvement. "You deserve to be there," she said. "You saved her life." Finally, the day of the release arrived. It was a clear and sunny morning, with the blue sky providing the perfect backdrop for Mudsey's farewell. Everyone gathered at the chosen release site, a protected area of dense forest, far from the city and human dangers. Dr. Helena, holding the transport cage with Mudsey inside, approached the release point. "Are you ready, girl?" she asked. Although she knew the answer was in the bright, alert eyes of the fox, Mudsey seemed to understand something special was about to happen. The construction workers, Marcelo and other members of the hospital team were present, all holding their breath as Helena slowly opened the cage. Mudsey took a hesitant step out, sniffing the fresh air and looking around curiously. "Go, Mudsey," whispered Helena. "This is your home." The little fox took a few more steps, then ran with grace and speed, disappearing into the vegetation. The group watched in silence, feeling a mix of joy and sadness. They knew they had done the right thing, but also felt the loss of a companion who had become dear to everyone. "She'll do well," said João, breaking the silence. "She's strong and knows what to do." Pedro nodded with tears in his eyes. It was an honor to be part of her life, even if only for a short time. Helena placed a hand on Pedro's shoulder. "You did more than save a life," she said. "You reminded us of the importance of compassion and the responsibility we have towards all living beings." As they began to disperse, each carried with them a sense of accomplishment and renewed purpose. Mudsey's story was not just about the survival of a fox, but about the connection between humans and animals and the positive impact small acts of kindness can have. That night back at the hospital, Helena and Marcelo reviewed the day's events. "It was a great day," said Marcelo, still emotional. "We'll miss her." "Yes, we will," agreed Helena. "But knowing she's free and happy is the best reward we could have." And so, with Mudsey running free through the forest, the hospital team and the construction workers reflected on the extraordinary journey they had shared. They knew that, wherever Mudsey was, she would be grateful for the care and second chance they had given her.